bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it's so great to have you with us. Topping the news tonight, it appears that incumbent Hotel Union President Nicole Martin has been returned to lead the Hotel Workers Union. Unofficial results from yesterday's poll show that Martin beat out her opponents in what union executives describe as a landslide victory. The counting of ballots went on late into the night, and it is understood that Martin's A-team secured the majority of votes throughout the country. But here on Grand Bahama, union members voted overwhelmingly for Team Destiny and Team Revolution. The official results are expected to be released tomorrow. If Martin is declared the official winner, it would make the third time Martin has been elected to the top post in the last 3 years. In other news, the government has begun the process in revolutionizing labor in the country. The hierarchy of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas Trade Union Congress heard about some of the proposed changes during a special meeting at the Grand Lucerne Resort. Joan Davis-Roll has this story.
Leaders representing most of the major unions in the country convening on Grand Bahama recently for high-level talks on the state of workers in the Bahamas. The Minister of Labor, the Honorable Shane Gibson, telling members of the Trade Union Congress that significant changes are imminent as the government moves to enact laws to further protect the rights of workers.
The date of assent is imminent for the amendments to the Industrial Relations Act, removing the registration of all industrial agreements from the jurisdiction of the tribunal and placing them with the Registrar of Trade Unions. And I have already signed those documents agreeing for it to be assented on next week. Mr. President, let me be the first to say that the workers of this country owe you and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas Trade Union Congress a debt of gratitude for your staunch advocacy for the Industrial Relations Act to be amended.
Minister Gibson says the government's efforts will not stop there.
As soon as we have put in place the tripartite consultation legislation, we will move with dispatch to discuss with the social partners the much-needed amendments to the Employment Act. Additionally, the request for the renaming of Labor Day as the Sir Randolph Fox Labor Day is an active consideration. An announcement on this should be forthcoming.
President of the Bahamas Trade Union Congress, Obie Ferguson, commended the government for what appears to be a new labor culture that is emerging in this country.
And the government has been very, very proactive in passing the proper legislation to remove it from the tribunal, put it where it really ought to have been all along. That's with the Registrar of Trade Unions. And now those unions, like Pedro Union and other unions, the Electrical Workers Union, and a number of unions that have not been able to register the agreement. As yet, the minister said he has done all the protocol to make sure everything is in order, and within a short period of time, these unions will now be able to register the agreement, and the agreement will now be enforceable. And for that, I think the minister and the government ought to be given that.
Joan Davis-Roll, 7S Network News.
Thanks, Joan. Well, in other news, the family of the late Job Munnings continues to mourn his untimely death. The young artist was shot and killed by police in Abaco, and while the Commissioner of Police has reportedly admitted to a case of mistaken identity, the family believes their concerns are falling on deaf ears. Now, tonight, several local activists are joining forces to assist the family in their fight for justice. Sabrina Brown reports.
We are calling for a swift report from the coroner's court, just like the swift one that Mr. John Travolta got his son in 2009.
President of Operation Justice Troy Garvey says the family of Job Munnings, also known as Versatile, has yet to receive any answers from the relevant authorities after he was mistakenly shot and killed by police in Abaco several weeks ago. Garvey says on Friday he accompanied two of Job's sisters on a trip to Abaco as they seek to find out the truth surrounding their brother's death. He says an eyewitness gave this account of the tragic incident.
On the entrance of him and his friend into this abandoned building area, not exactly in the building, they came to a track road, and Mr. Munnins asked the young man, "You ever been in here before?" And he said, "No, boy, versatile. I ain't never been in this building." So if those police officers were already there, and they were staking out, and it was quiet, and these gentlemen had to heard when Carlos Alvarez said, "No versatile." So the police officers never questioned, never asked them, never summoned them to get on the ground or stop it where they were going. And so his name was called Versatile. So how could that be mistaken identity?
After uncovering this latest bit of information, the community activist says they attempted to speak with police on that island.
The police would not entertain us. When we went to the Marshall Police Station, Inspector Noel said we couldn't get a report. While in Abaco, we met with the Member of Parliament for North Abaco, Mr. Renato Curry, who assured the family, in my presence, that he would see to it that this unfortunate matter receives the attention of the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Human rights activist Joe Darville says they will continue their probe into this case until justice is served.
We are connected to many international human rights organizations, beginning with the Caribbean Human Rights Network and the Lawyers Group out of New York, as well as Amnesty International. In accord with that as well, we will, if we do not get proper answers, we will take this directly to the Human Rights Division of the Organization of American States.
Leader of Families for Justice, Reverend Glenroy Bethel, is demanding that appropriate action be taken against the police officers involved.
The officers them that were involved, all of those officers, we understand, is still in active duty, and we demand that they be put on administrative leave. When something like this occur in our country, there's no way that it can be your business as usual.
The group plans to call for a commission of inquiry into the death of Job Munnings and others who have suffered similar fate. Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Now, the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Emerick Seymour, confirmed this afternoon the matter is now in the hands of the coroner's court. Any further inquiries should be directed to the coroner's office. Tonight, the family of Grand Bahama's first homicide victim is sending an appeal. This as the search continues for the person or persons responsible for his death. Joan Davis Roll reports.
And you know the person who is responsible for his death.
It is a mystery that for weeks the Outen family has been praying about, but now they're moving in faith that their prayers to find their loved one's killer will be answered. Family of the late 51-year-old Christopher Outen, who was shot to death in January of this year in Deadman's Reef, West Grand Bahama, is making this public appeal. Spokesman for the family, Pastor Simeon Outen.
The family and friends of the late Christopher Outen is offering a reward of $25,000, information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for his death, which occurred here on the island at Grand Bahama, Saturday, January 19. I also wish to add that the family, we've set up an account at Commonwealth Bank, and the account number is 70550-50527. We are also asking persons wishing to assist us in adding a contribution to the account. The Outen family will be greatly appreciated for whatever contribution.
Pastor Outen noted that while the family commends the police for their efforts, the latest move is their way of joining forces with the authorities.
We are confident as a family in the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and we are absolutely convinced that they are doing a stellar job, and we know that they have their job to do, and so we are trying to assist them in this way in the hope that our plea would cause someone to make a phone call and help them in the work that they are doing.
Standing with the grieving family in their quest for answers is the Grand Bahama Christian Council, Council President Bishop Arnold Pinder Jr.
We believe that somebody on this island know exactly how Chris was killed. And we are making a special appeal. We will continue to pray, and we know that prayers works. And so we are here to give our full support to this family. Not because this family is popular, but it is our job that justice will prevail, and we know that one day the truth will save us.
Joan Davis-Roll, 7S Network News.
Now tonight, police say their investigation into the January 19th murder of Christopher Oughton remains active. Police officials are renewing their appeal as well for persons with information on the murder of 50-year-old Christopher Oughton to contact the nearest police station. Andrew Burbal is expected to be retried on October 7th after the Court of Appeal quashed his conviction and 35-year prison term last December and ordered a retrial. During Tuesday's proceedings, Burbal also tried to get bail, arguing that he is being held illegally as a sentenced inmate in inhumane conditions and he is not a flight risk. But the court refused, noting that his detention is authorized by the Court of Appeal and his trial will be held in a matter of months. Now, this isn't the second time Burbal has applied for bail. He applied last December but was unsuccessful. Burbal was initially convicted and sentenced by a Grand Bahama-based judge for having unlawful sex with 2 schoolboys. Now, switching gears now, NEMA 3-day emergency management training program is set to wrap up tomorrow. The session is oversubscribed with a large number of females volunteering to be of assistance in the time of a storm. Michelle Gardner, the assistant facilitator with NEMA's head office, says she is impressed with the level of interest among residents of Grand Bahama in the area of disaster preparedness.
In Grand Bahama, they're very interested because we had an overflow of participants. We were expecting about 25 persons, and we've exceeded that, and we had to actually turn some persons away and advise them that we would have to organize another set of training to facilitate those persons. So the persons on Grand Bahama are relatively serious, and because they have been impacted so many times, and the impact has been so devastating, here, they're very, very mindful of what disasters can do and the impact that can, last even a lifetime.
Now, the 3-day training session is part of a certification program offered by NEMA. Facilitator Luke Bethel says certification is the way to go for NEMA in the future.
We're making it mandatory now to recertify, we need that because these are persons we're relying on to manage a facility with different personalities and standards of people. So we're giving them that the basic touch and the professional touch on how to maneuver with that in regards to administration and problem solving.
The NEMA certification training wraps up tomorrow. Pride Month celebrations are winding down at the 8 Mile Walk High School. Today, students and faculty of that institution held a special assembly to honor several former students who have all made a mark in the Grand Bahama community. Shakara Trott fills us in.
In a display of pride, students crammed the gym along with teachers and former students of the 8 Mile Walk High School. Bringing remarks was former long-serving principal Sandra Edgecombe.
We've always been the school in the back of the bush, but when we stepped out in the city, everybody stopped and looked at us. I believe that this month, all of those activities has also said to us that there is no turning back. For when Blue Jays put their minds to a task, they can achieve. You have seen from former students, whether it's been Pakeisha or Valdez or any of the students who have been here this morning, what Blue Jay country is capable of producing. What has this month taught us? That when Blue Jays' backs are against the wall, they can come out even more determined.
While encouraging students to remain focused, Edgecombe encouraged students to continue to make academic strides.
Look at how far you've come, Blue Jays. Look at all of those persons who have made this day possible. And now that has all been passed over to you. How will you be looked at over the next few weeks, over the next few months, and indeed over the years to come?
Former principal Dwayne Higgins called the school a pace-setter among modern schools and was happy to contribute.
Do the best you can and be the best you can, because your life depends on it. The success of your family depends on it. The success of our country depends on it. We must continue to excel in everything that we do.
Shakara Trott, ZNS Network News.
The Ministry of Education promoting the development of the culinary arts by staging its annual Young Chef competition. When it was all said and done, some tasty dishes were enjoyed by the contestants and the judges. Megan Shepard picks up this story from here.
Junior and senior students from various schools competed in the 2013 Young Chef competition. They were given 2 hours to prepare 2 dishes, and Executive Chef Lamont Davis says he was quite impressed.
They had to use Mahatma rice, and they had to use Robin flour, and they had to give the judges 3 portions of each, and then we judge it, and then we come up with a winner.
The battle for a senior chef was pretty stiff, but in the end, Luciano Simmons of 8 Mile Rock High came out on top.
I prepared a mai rice cake, and I served it in a pumpkin soup with conch. And I topped it with spinach and bell pepper. And my second dish was a curry raisin muffin, and I topped it with a cilantro dressing, icing.
With Salmon Pod, he really used indigenous products like the pumpkin, the conch. You know, he was very spot on. He was on time, and you know, last year he fell short, and this year he came back, and you know, he really persevered, and he did a great job.
In the junior division, it was Deshaun Maycock of Jack Hayward Junior High.
Today I made a rice cake with spinach seafood and seafood cream cheese with beets, with red velvet cake, with Greek fruit yogurt.
Both chefs will be heading to New Providence in early March to compete in the national competition.
What we would do, you know, those who we critique, you know, the flaws in their dish, will help them to work on it. And, you know, hopefully we give them our ideas, and hopefully they come back with a trophy.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.